It's Craft Wednesday. Yay! Okay. That's what we're working with. This is basically going to be the border, and then we're going to do something inside here that's like distance. It's going to be a witchy house like this. But like better than that, you know? And of course, it's story time! Okay, so last time we talked about my mom's side, and now we will talk about my mom's dad's side. My mom's dad's name is Bruce Smith. His father is Rufus Smith, his mother Laura Lockwood Smith. We are talking about how we are Paiute and Swedish through Rufus Smith's bloodline. That is a really hard name to say. And actually, one of my cousins is filming a documentary talking about this as well. No, we had not had the chance to discuss our findings yet. However, I would love to know what he has found out and if we indeed found the same stuff. So I am super excited to see his finished project. I cannot wait. So Rufus Smith, his family came from Sweden long down the line. What would be my great 9th grandparents? I forget the guy's first name, but his wife's name was Sarah Fisher Smedsrebacka. Sarah is easy to remember because that's my mom's name. Anyways, they immigrated here to America seeking new religion and religious freedom. They followed the LDS Church following Joseph Smith, a prophet of the church at that time. Mr. Smedsrebacka was a smith for his trade. He made many things from horseshoes to weapons, specializing in guns. So when they arrived here, they went by Smith for their last name, since it's a new place, new land, new journey, new things. When the Smedsrebackas and the other Mormons finally settled between Utah and northern Nevada areas, because back then they weren't liked by many other organizations, so everywhere they tried to settle, they were run out and burned out of those places. So there wasn't a lot of options. So when they settled, they even befriended much of the Paiutes, Shoshones, and Washoe Indians. Paiutes, Shoshones, and Washos didn't get along with the Ute tribes that were nearby, often having disputes with them. Mr. Smedsrebacka, since he was a smith, he made weapons, he was asked to protect the settlement whenever Joseph Smith and his bodyguards went off to do their travels and missions to get more members. So he did. Aww. Okay, I wanted to spare you the painstaking process of doing the sides. I like to overlay my art all the way to the edge and wrap it around. I think it just looks nicer, and if you can't afford a frame, it just works out a lot better. So I just like to do my art, all of it like that. Everything, even when I'm painting, I wrap it around. Also, I wanted to point out, this is fabric type. You know, it's canvas, so it's like a fabric, and it's rough. So it even pisses me off when my lines aren't perfectly straight, but you gotta remember there's a lot of little gritty crap going on in here, and so it's not always perfect, okay? Just use these lines, they're just for guidelines, and you get to create the painting yourself how you want it to be, and then hang it yourself. So that was the point of all these. Just, you know, don't come at me like that, because, you know, I can't help the fabric, okay? It's a fabric with a sharp, pointy tip. It's not going to be perfectly straight, okay? It's just not. And back to the story. So, one evening, as Sarah Smedsrebacka was cooking supper, she heard a blood-curdling scream from outside and went to investigate. What she found was a little 8-year-old girl who was kidnapped by 2 Ute men. They had her by her legs and were going to kill her because she was putting up a fight and kept trying to escape. At least that's how the story goes. Anyway, Sarah offered them supplies in exchange for the girl. They were going to take her to Mexico because you get a higher dollar for an Indian princess. Sarah traded a horse, flour, blankets, and one of her husband's guns for the girl. Okay. The biggest reason why... Let me cover that up so I don't smear it. The biggest reason why art is so amazing for your mental health, seriously, it is so calming. If you are someone who suffers anxiety, doing this, even though I'm tracing, it is so freaking relaxing that I literally sometimes start to fall asleep. Like, my eyes start to get all heavy, I start getting all wonky and crazy, and sometimes my eyes, when I'm super in focus, especially my right eye, and I think it's due to the brain injuries, but it'll go and then focus back, and I'm like, stop it. But it is so relaxing, and it just puts you in a state of calm. That's why I like to use it for, you know, if you're depressed, this is a good way to get yourself out of it. You can draw or paint with your emotions, having those help you out. And really it's just letting those emotions out, and it's just an art form, and that's pretty cool too. But other than that, it's a really big stress release if you can just sit quietly with your own thoughts and just let them be. Let your thoughts happen. And then just relax with the motion and the movement of just, even if you're just tracing, you draw it on with stencil with the pencil and go over it in ink. It's super relaxing, okay? So that's why I wanted to incorporate it in my channel and help you guys out. It's great. Freaking do it. Okay, back to the story. Well, turns out she is Sarah Winnemucca's little sister who was kidnapped. During that time is when many tribes were also being taken from their lands and put on reservations. It would have been too risky to take her back to find her tribe. So the Smith-Rebecca's, the Smiths, adopted her and raised her as their own. They renamed her Jeanette Smith. When Jeanette became of age, she was told by the prophet she needed to marry a white man. She didn't like white men, you know, because of what they've already done to the other members in taking land and causing divides. So she said she would only marry her cousin, who lived in Canada at the time, Dudley Levitt. He already had 3 wives, and Jeanette became the 4th wife. He tried to refuse her because he already had 3 wives and he didn't want to marry an Indian. This is where it gets a little racist, but don't come at me, this is back in the day. We weren't there. But the prophets told him that it would benefit the bloodline, for he would be able to lighten the skin color for generation to generation and gain the magic of the Indian blood. Many tribes had shamans, and her tribe is one of them. In fact, she was learning from her grandmother how to be a shaman, and she was learning all the plant medicines. So she was Dudley Levitt's 4th wife. He married a 5th after that as well. Here, I will show you a picture in just a second of him. But what's funny is my sister's ex-husband's great 8th grandmother was Dudley Levitt's 3rd wife, which I think is rather funny. Here is a younger version of picture when I was researching, and here is him with his 5 wives. Okay, but for real, now that we are on this topic, I want to talk about it. I felt like I was lied to as a kid. So growing up Mormon, I often got asked if I had more than one mom. Like, everyone thought all Mormons practiced this. Like, nowadays, the real Mormons go by Latter-day Saints, technically, because the LDS folks don't agree with the whole sister wives thing, and there are still people who do practice sister wife stuff and call themselves Mormons. So yeah, hopefully that clears that up. No, we did not have more than one mom. We always thought that was weird. Yeah. So, and us in the church, we didn't grow up super strict. My mom did, and she refused to do that to us. So, we were usually back and forth through religion and didn't really know what we really wanted to be. I'm more spiritual, that's how I take it, and I actually agree more so with my Paiute side than the Christian side, but that's just me. I actually nerded out for a little bit trying to figure that out, so. But anyways, yeah, like Dudley Levitt, he ended up having 10 children per wife. That's 50 children. And my take on that is that I kind of get it. Like, they were being burned out everywhere because of all the new religions battling who's right and who's wrong. It's hard to be at the top when no one's following, so create your own members. Have them be born into it. So I get what Joseph Smith was doing. It's just like, ew. So, yeah. I don't know, that's the story of how we are Paiute Swedes on my mom's side. We are German Cherokee on my dad's mom's side and French Cherokee on my dad's side, but I'm not sure of the history on that side of the family yet. But when I find out, I will gladly share it here. So yeah, other than that, I'm going to be sharing what we brain injury people go through, like thought process wise, neuro changes I've experienced and such. because I think that's important. Okay, and if you're new here and don't understand my channel, this is a health and fitness channel, and part of health is taking care of our mental health too, whether it's by injuries or just trauma. And here is a place where we can open up about that stuff so you don't have to be alone. Sometimes people go through this and that's when they decide to end things in their life, like my aunt did. And if I can share my stories and that helps somebody else share theirs so that they don't have to be alone and they know that they're not alone, because oftentimes we think that we are burdens to those closest around us. Because reality is everybody goes through something, and no one's life is perfect and it gets hard, but sometimes we lock ourselves and hide ourselves away thinking that we're just going to be a burden. And if my channel helps somebody else, then I did my job. I helped somebody, and that's the point. Plus, my kids get to keep this forever, and it's kind of like a cool little time capsule of who their mom was and then family history, and I think that's really cool. And if you want to jump on board, you should absolutely do it. It's awesome. Share your story. You matter. You are important. Your life experiences are your human experiences, because we're all spirits having a human experience, and it's freaking awesome. Hard, but awesome. And if you're ever feeling like you want to bottle things in, use my favorite quote that is by Shrek when he farts and he's like, "It's better out than in," I always say. And that's so true. Like, do not hold that stuff inside. It will destroy you from the inside. I'm not just talking about flatulence, okay? I'm talking about our emotions and how it helps our day or doesn't help our day, honestly. Yeah. Well, I hope you enjoyed this. This is one of my latest paintings. I kind of wanted to add something else to it, but I might leave it as is and just make it shiny with a nice shiny overcoat. But yeah. All right. Well, I will see you later. Have a great day. Thanks for watching. Subscribe.